Welcome to your doom. Shut it and get over here. Massive uppercut! Hello and welcome to another edition of the JabJab Show. And today I'm talking about a couple of new releases, recent releases of the plug and play devices, namely the PlayStation Classic and also the Neo Geo Classic. They've just been released in the last week or so or whatever, and I've made a video on these back when they were announced, pretty much, and I talked about the systems and what we're likely to expect and things like that. I'm fairly open-minded with things like this. Everyone's got an opinion on plug and play devices and things, and we use emulators and all the rest of it. There's lots of discussion there with it. I personally like the idea of plug and play devices. Certainly like the NES Classics and the Super Nintendo Classic. I've got them both, all lovely machines, all well built, and all the rest of it is all really done well. But I've been keeping an eye on these two devices, since they've been released on all the leaks that have come out before they were released and things and all the developments, and so I have decided I'm not going to have these for Christmas. Well, either one of them for Christmas. I've said no to Santa. Basically, kind of disappointed more so with the PlayStation Classic. It seems to be like when the initially 5 games were released, and I thought, okay, pretty good. Games on there, of the 5 that have been mentioned. Obviously Sony have got third-party support for this device. Then the other 15, there's 20 games in total, and the other, you see all the games that that were announced for it, like coming out, and thought, okay, a bit of a mixed bag, which is to be expected. Some glaring omissions, I believe. I should mention them in my original video for the PlayStation Classic. Some I guess for licensing issues, and some, in terms of the Crash Bandicoot games, they've done a Insane trilogy, and I thought maybe, it might devalue them or something if they release it on this. I'm not too sure, so maybe something along those lines. Okay, 20 games. There was a fair few PlayStation games that came out, so law of averages means you're going to get really bad games, you're going to get really good games. So they have missed out on watching videos, and people have made videos on this, and also in the comment sections as well of those videos, and I was thinking, yeah, I know some games. Yeah, I'm not the biggest PlayStation aficionado, but some of these games they're missing out on a lot. Perhaps it's 20 games, but I can only judge on what actually is in the box, okay? And I've seen what's in the box, and when I saw the front end of the machine, you switch on and it does a little Sony logo. It's pretty cool. Then you end up with a bland little thing going on where you see the like thumbnails of the games and stuff. It was quite low tech, really. I'm quite surprised on how little effort seems to have been made in the presentation of the thing. You compare that with the Nintendo stuff. It's got like a jaunty music in the background. It's got things happening. It's got a lot more kind of stuff going for it. So also the emulation seems to be a little hit and miss from what I can tell, and certainly the American versions of the device, which they use NTSC at 60 Hz, and we here in the UK we use 50 Hz, so the games run slower. And for whatever reason, I do not know why, they've decided to make of the 20 games, for the US version, they've had 9 of them are catered for the PAL version, which runs slower and all that, and some of the controls as a result feel a little stodgy. It just smelled like it wasn't really as good as it probably should be. You're mentioning some games work well, some games look a bit not so well, and also we're talking about games. 3D games were very much in the infancy back then. There's no option for putting filters on scan lines or anything, and some commenters have been saying on these videos that the emulators they've used, or Sony or whoever made these things, isn't even the best one to use and things like that. I mean, it's a bit too technical for myself, but I understand the basics of what's going on. So it's got a pretty universal kind of like average kind of review kind of thing. You know, some games like Rayman, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid, and a few others, like, you know, it's getting really good. You know, they play well, like, apparently, but it's just the others, the odd choice of games. Like, you know, I mean, I'm all for, like, you know, a bit of variety, spice of life, just like throwing different games, things I've not heard of and stuff. I'm wanting to place things like that. I'm learning to learn new things and things about the games and stuff. So the game selection, well, it could be better, you know, it is what it is, but essentially I thought, no, I don't want to pay. Plus it's £90. It's £90, and it's, you know, obviously more than the NES and the Super Nintendo Classic. I dare say if there was a N64 Classic with 20 games on, it'd probably be about that price. As it stands, £90 for this device, what it does and what it doesn't do, you know, I thought, nah, I'll give this a miss. Okay, as for PlayStation Classic, the reason I don't really want to get the Neo Geo Classic, I'm a little less disappointed with it because I was really looking forward to this one, probably more so than PlayStation Classic. It's got 40 games on. You know, there's lots of. I mean, you know, obviously you got, you know, the Metal Slugs. You've got the King of Fighters, Fatal Furies, Samurai Showdowns. You've got all the ton of fighting games, ton of run and gun games, and, you know, all the rest of it. And all that's not what SNK have only done, you know, in their 40 years. You know, you look at the Switch compilation that's come out. That's got a lot of games that aren't on this particular device. What seems to be the general consensus with that is, you know, I knew going into it, because when I made a video, I knew that you can plug it into a TV via HDMI. What I have found out, you know, again looking at videos, research over time, and over the commenters and who have actually played one of these devices, fuzzy, you know, on the screen, on a big screen. And to me, I don't understand, how is it so like this? I mean, looking on a 3.5-inch screen, I mean, I like the idea of, like, obviously taking the arcade kind of thing and making the actual device with a little small screen, like a mini arcade and stuff. The joystick and whatever, you know, which is a thing in itself, which I'll talk about. It, you know, it's maybe a little too close together because there's a little device that big, and you've got to huddle up against it. And my main concern is because of the screen size as well. It's probably not so bad with the one-on-one beat 'em ups, but when you play Metal Slug, when everyone's like shooting at you and you have to jump and all the rest of it, you know, it's difficult on a small screen. Because I've played some of the game Mega Drive games on, you know, basically a handheld, but yay big, like, you know, it's literally that big. The screen's about that big as the viewfinder on the camera, like, that's how small it is. So when you're playing games with small sprites or small bullets and things, it's really difficult to kind of see what's happening, kind of thing. And it's a little unfair, you know, if you're used to playing it on a big screen, now suddenly you have to, like, really focus in on little things. One of the main things is the screen resolution when you put it onto a TV, and I think one of the, you know, what's a couple of videos maybe of, like, you compared it with, you know, you can get these games on the Switch, for example, and on the big screen when you play it on the TV and via the Switch. The graphics, everything looks like, you know, as it should do. The fidelity and everything just looks as good as it is. So it's not just a matter of, like, these are old games. It's a little bit ridiculous, you know, why just because of old games they can't look a little clearer on a big screen. Plus also the price point. It's you know, it's by far most expensive plug and play device out there, which is what it is, you know. And my current situation, because I'm off work, you know, I've been talking about this in previous videos as well. I'm off work, basically. I don't have as much money coming through, obviously being off work and so on, you know. I can't expect anyone to pay the money for this device for Christmas. It's too much money. So obviously I've got to fund part of it myself, and it's too expensive at the moment. Maybe when I go back to work, get a better job, whatever it is, you know, I'll just look into it a bit more. But the whole screen being a little bit soft, a little bit, you know, that kind of thing, it just puts me off a little bit, you know. Plus you also have to buy a separate, well, you don't have to buy it, I mean obviously these are arcade games on there, so I can understand why they've got a little joystick and you know, the buttons and so forth. Some people say that it doesn't click like the original Neo Geo arcade machine. arcade games, and maybe even the Neo Geo console itself, you know, the various iterations of that, where you actually click every time you move and stuff, which I mean, I've used joysticks that do that, and I've used joysticks or control pads which have like an octagon feeling. You know, when you go around the D-pad and you kind of can feel where left is and up and up right and up left. You know, you can feel where they are because it's a definite kind of thing. Apparently, you know, these joysticks are very smooth. There's no real feeling of no, that's definitely going right and stuff. You know, things like that. So maybe the diagonals are a little bit off now and again, which if you I don't know if there's any shoot 'em ups on there, but anything that's like Twitch gameplay, you know, it could be, you know, made it more difficult because of the actual controls. There is options of buying an extra a separate control pad, which is a thing. I'm not sure. I think they're about £25, but that's another £25 on top of what it is and so forth, which you know, adds up to a bit. I mean, I'm not the richest person in the world, so someone might hack it. Might have already hacked these machines. We get the international version over here of the Neo Geo Classic, so maybe someone can hack it, or maybe have hacked it and put a better emulator in there. Again, a lot of people, some people who really know more than me, they've said the emulator that they've used isn't as good as some other emulator that they could use, because you know, I don't know, like, you know, maybe, you know, when they use that emulator, if they use that emulator and the one instead of the one that they use, maybe when they put it onto the HD TV, you know, or 4K, I don't know, you know, it looks a lot better, possibly. I'm not too sure. Maybe there's a firmware upgrade somehow. I don't know if it has capacity. If either of these two devices have capacity to, you know, hook up to the internet where you can install things. I don't know. I've not looked into it, but who knows? Maybe that's the case. So I'm not getting that one either. So in my research, if you will, in my things, I mean, I like to get things like this for Christmas, like plug and play, or you know, consoles themselves and things. I have decided on a thing. I'm not going to say what it is, but I've decided on a thing. And it's been out a little while. This thing that I've decided on. There was a sticking point for me for a long time. Then I realised, oh, actually, you can do this instead. So that's kind of a deal breaker for me. But more news as and when. I might even do, you know, make a follow-up video after Christmas and reveal to the world, you know, if the world are watching, you know, what I actually did decide over the two devices I've mentioned. So what are your views on the Neo Geo Classic or the PlayStation Classic? Have you got one? Are you going to get one? What you know, what kind of things, what games are the best on there? What have they missed out on? Do we agree with my comments, or what? Just let me know down below. Also, let's have a look. Yeah, so I'm just as a little thing on my channel, I'm working on other things as well. Gameplay videos. I don't keep, but I'm now again threatened to start them again. There's a few games, you know, I want to make videos on. Going back to the 8-bit micros, the Spectrum, Commodore Amstrad, that kind of thing, you know. I am thinking, because I've been, you know, talking with a few YouTubers, and you know, I want to get back into that kind of thing. The current setup is, I'm current state of mind, and all that is it's getting better. It's not 100%, but you know, when will I ever be 100%? If you do want to comment below, yeah, just let me know what you reckon to it. Are you going to get one of these plug and play devices? If so, like which one, you know, all that kind of thing. Just discuss things down there, you know, it's all fun. So yeah, so that's all really. So thanks for watching and all that. So like, subscribe, comment if you like this kind of thing, and tell your friends and everything. And in the words of Lindy Cyrus, send the word.